to Beyond the Cowl. Today we are making this gorgeous twisted rope with vertical bars, a cable square, and I love it. It is gorgeous. It has such a lovely texture. See, you've got 3 repeats of that texture, and it looks like it's sort of 2 pieces of rope just twisting as it goes. And I love it, love it, love it. If you have never made any cable stitches before, don't panic. I will talk you through every stitch of the way. If you have never made any stitches that work around the post, so front post or back post stitches, you've probably never heard of those, and now you're thinking, what? Then I have made a video to show you, or to talk to you about cables, to show you how to make front post and back post stitches, and how to make some slightly taller stitches, such as the double treble crochet, and beyond, like bigger than that as well. So if you would like a little bit of a sort of preview of how to make cable stitches, then hopefully there will be a link on screen somewhere around now to point you to that video. Go and have a look at that video and then come back and make this square with me. Have a look at that video. It gives some handy hints and pointers for choosing your yarn, your hook size, and how to make those stitches. So go and have a look at that and then come and join me back. If you come here from that video, then I hope you found that video useful and helpful, and I hope you're all ready now to get on with making your first cable square. So let's get started. Okay, to start row 1, you are going to make a chain of 46, and then single crochet into the second chain from the hook, and 1 single crochet into every chain, and you will have 45 stitches. So chain 46 and then single crochet into the second chain and all the way along for 45 stitches. So pause the video and make your 45 stitches and then meet me back. Okay, now I obviously miscounted my chains, and I only have 44 stitches on here, so I could undo the whole thing and start again. I don't really want to do that again, so I'm going to show you how you can add a stitch to the end of your row. So this is a single crochet to add at the end of the row when you need to add 1 or 2 stitches. So if you look at the end of your row of stitches, you have your slip knot here. So if I can bring this in, can you see just this little bar at the side there? See that? That little bar at the side? Okay, so what I'm going to do is go into that and then yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 1 loop, and we've essentially just made the chain at the bottom. Okay, the chain at the bottom to match the rest of the chains, and then yarn over and pull through 2, and that gives you your last stitch of your row. Okay, so your tail in out comes out from 1 stitch further along, and that's how you can add a stitch at the end of your row. Nice and simple. Okay, now you might be used to thinking that the first row you made is the right side, but you'd be wrong, because it's the wrong side. We are going to count the next row we make as the right side. So differently to usual, the even numbered rows will be the right side and the odd numbered rows will be the wrong side, just to change things up a little. Okay, so for this row, row 2, chain 3, and that counts as your first double crochet, and we're going to turn the work around, and then we're going to do a double crochet into the next stitch. So not the first stitch that your chain comes from, you're going to go into the next stitch and do a double crochet. Okay, and then you're going to do a double crochet in every stitch across. You will have 45 double crochets in total, including this chain. So 1 double crochet in every stitch along. Okay, 45 double crochets. Okay, there are my 45 double crochet, and so it's time to flip our work and work into row 3. Okay, row 3. Now you might be thinking, when are we going to start these cables? We are going to start them very soon, and there will be a 2-row repeat pattern for those, but we're just setting up our foundation rows for the cables. Okay, so we have to set up those foundation rows to begin with. So row 3 is simple. Chain 1, make sure your work's turned around, and then we're just going to single crochet into every stitch along. So go into that very first stitch, because that chain 1 doesn't count as anything. Okay, so we're just going to single crochet in every stitch along, 45 stitches. Your very last stitch will be in the top of that chain 3 that we made at the start of the last row. So just go into the top chain of that chain 3 and make your last single crochet. Okay, so pause the video and join me back 45 single crochets later. Okay, this is 45 stitches later. Your work might have become slightly curly with those single crochets, but don't worry, it will be fine as we work up. So there we go, 45 single crochets later. Okay, we're going to work row 4 now, and this will be what counts as our right side, because we're going to start making those front post stitches. Okay, so when we make these, we will have some stitches behind them that will be unworked, some unworked single crochets, and that's absolutely fine. That's how it will be and should be, and I will show you those as we get to them. Okay, so let's just take this step by step. So chain 3 and turn your work around. That counts as our first double crochet. Okay, so don't work into the very first double crochet of the row, single crochet of the row, and then make 5 more double crochet. Okay, so you will have 6 double crochet altogether, including that chain. So 5 double crochet, 6 with that starting chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we have now what we're going to call 6 double crochet, because this chain counts as a double crochet. Okay, now what we're going to do is this part you're going to repeat across the whole row. Okay, we're going to make a front post treble crochet around the double crochet, so around one of the double crochets that is 2 rows below. So we've got our row of single crochet, and then we have our row of double crochet. We're going to work around the double crochet. Okay, and we're going to do it below the very next stitch. So we have our next single crochet, and below that you have your double. Okay, so the next stitch, and you want the double crochet below, and we're going to make a front post treble around that. So yarn over twice, go front to back to front. Now I did do a video showing you how to make front post stitches, so if you're not familiar with those, have a look at that. Hopefully there's a link on screen somewhere now or in the description box. Go and have a look at that if you're not familiar, because although I did explain that slightly, I do go in a bit more depth in that video, so you can get more of a feel for it. Okay, so now there is a single crochet behind this stitch that is not going to be worked into. So if you look here, we have our treble crochet, okay, and then behind it there is a stitch that we're not working into. We have our previous double crochet, and then this stitch will not be worked into. Okay, we'll be skipping to the very next stitch. Okay, so that's important to remember. If you can't quite see where it is from holding this, then just look at where your last stitch is, your last double crochet, and then look, it's the next stitch. So I'm going to skip that, and then I'm going to work into the very next stitch and do a double crochet. Okay, so just check that you are skipping a stitch from behind, because if we made a stitch in there, you will end up with more than 45 stitches. This front post stitch replaces working into that actual stitch. So if I turn this around, you can see there is a stitch there that's not worked into. Okay, so I've just done a double crochet around that next stitch. Okay, just have a count and make sure that your front post treble crochet is around the 7th stitch of the double crochets. Make sure you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and then the 7th. Make sure you haven't gone around the 6th stitch by mistake. Okay, so make sure it is coming up from the 7th stitch. If it looks slightly wonky, as mine did, I've corrected it. If it looks slightly wonky, then it's in the stitch, the 6th stitch. So just double check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, if it's not around the 7th, then just undo and redo it around the 7th double crochet. Okay, and then make your double crochet in the very next stitch along into the single crochet. Okay. Okay, so when you've done that double crochet and you have your skipped stitch at the back, so skip stitch there, okay, we are going to move along and we are going to skip the next single crochet. Okay, skip the next single crochet, and then we're going to do a front post treble crochet around each of the double crochet below the next 2 stitches. Okay, that might sound a bit confusing, but let's work through it. So we're skipping a stitch here, and then we're going to work around the posts below these 2 single crochet. So that will actually be, if you want to count the stitches below to make sure you're going into the right places, you are going to skip 1 for the double crochet that we did, 1 for the skip stitch, and then 1 is the next post we're going to go around. Okay, so just to make sure you are going into the correct stitch below. So you've got 1 below the double crochet, so next to this front post, 1 below the double, 1 for the skip stitch, and then the next one. Okay, so just to help you understand that a bit more, the post of the double crochet below the stitch comes to the left of the stitch. So if I show you here, just to save you always counting, this is our double crochet we just made. Okay, but this is the post below for the double crochet on the row below. So double crochet there into that single crochet, and the post comes out to the left of that stitch. So single crochet there and the post to the left. The next one, the post is on the left. The next one, the post is on the left. Okay, so we're going to go into this one. So we've got our front post there, and then skip 2 stitches there and go into this next one with a front post treble crochet. So we did that back here, so yarn over twice, 3rd stitch along, and make your treble crochet. Now once we have this setup row done, it will become much more simple because we'll be doing the post stitches around post stitches, so it will become much simpler and you won't have to count quite so much. Okay, so we've done that front post around there, and then we're going to do a front post around the next double crochet. Okay, so we're doing 2 front post treble crochets. Okay, like so. And then we're going to do a front post treble crochet around the double crochet below the skipped single crochet. Okay, so that's this one here. We skipped a stitch, remember, so we want to go around this 2nd double crochet here. So we've got 2 skipped double crochets, we're going to go around this 2nd one. Okay, so just get my pattern back up. My tablet's just turned off. I've got my tablet over here in the corner and it's just turned off to a black screen. Not very helpful. Okay, so we're going to do a front post treble around that double crochet. So this is where we see the cables crossing and making our twisted rope. So yarn over twice, and we're going to go back, okay, this way around that post and do your treble crochet. There we go. So it's pulling these previous 2 trebles, it's pulling them over, okay, and then this one's going to cross over this way, okay. Okay, so now we're going to have 3 unworked single crochet behind those front post trebles, okay. So we are going to skip those 3 and do a double crochet in the 4th. So 1, 2, 3, and then do a double crochet in the 4th stitch along. Okay, you might be able to tell immediately where that stitch is just by looking, but if you can't tell just from looking, then just look at the back and skip 3 stitches. Okay, and that's all you have to do, to skip those 3 stitches, and then you have that. Okay, so you can see these skipped stitches at the back now. You can see there's this little sort of pocket almost, okay? So we had just 1 little skip stitch here, little tiny pocket, and then we've got 3 here. Okay, so we are then going to do a front post treble crochet below the next single crochet. So you are going to skip 1 double crochet down here, because that's where your double crochet comes from above, and then it will be the next one. So front post treble around that double crochet. Okay, skip 1 double crochet on the row below, and then you're doing it around the next one. Okay, and then we're going to do a double crochet into each of the next 6 single crochets. So remember, skip the single crochet behind this front post, so skip the next single crochet along and do your double crochet into the next stitch. Okay, always skipping a stitch from when you've done a front post. So when we did 3 front posts here, we skipped 3 stitches, we're skipping 1 for this one here. Okay, so 6 double crochets. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oops. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is what we have so far. I'm bringing this up. You can, hopefully if I move it around in the light, you can see the texture of where those crossed trebles are over here. Now it doesn't look much like rope at the moment, but when we start making it up the top here, you'll see how it starts to go back and forth and make our rope. Okay, so we are going to repeat exactly what we've done here on this section. So I'm going to show you that again, and possibly a little faster. We'll see how we go. Okay, so get ready to repeat what we've just done. Okay, so first of all, we're going to do a front post treble crochet around the double crochet below the next stitch. So if you know where that is, to the left of the next stitch, or if you want to count, you just want to count 6 double crochets to account for the 6 double crochets we did on the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you're going to do it around the next. Okay, that's the simple way of doing it. So front post treble crochet around that stitch. Okay, and then remember you will skip a single crochet from behind, and then you're going to do a front post treble, sorry, we're going to do a double crochet in the next stitch. So skip that single crochet and do a double crochet into the next single. Okay, and then, okay, so we're going to skip a single crochet, and then we're going to do a front post double crochet around the next 2 double crochets below the next 2 stitches. So we're going to skip, if you want to do it from below, skip 1 for the double crochet, skip 1 for the skip stitch, and then we're going to do a front post around each of the next 2. So skip 2 double crochets below and front post around the 3rd and 4th. I find that to sometimes be the simplest way of working out where to go. And like I said, after this it will become so much simpler for where to put the stitches. Okay, so we're doing 2 front post treble crochets. Okay, and then we are going to do a front post treble crochet around the skipped double crochet. So we've done these 2 front posts and we want to do it around the one to the right of those 2 front post treble crochet around there. Okay, so if you need to double check behind, you will have 3 skipped single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th single crochet you're going to do a double crochet. Okay, double crochet the 4th. Oops, did I not do a yarn over? I thought I did. Okay, so double crochet in there, and then we're going to do a front post treble around the double crochet below the next stitch. So skip 1 here for the double crochet we just did, and then do a double front post double around the next. So skip a double crochet down here and work around the next. Okay, and then there will be 1 stitch not worked into behind, and you're going to do a double crochet into each of the next 6 stitches. So skip 1 stitch behind and then 6 double crochet along. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. There we go. So that's what we have so far with our 2 repeats. Okay, we are going to do that one more time. So we're going to skip 7 stitches altogether on the double crochets below. So from the last front post, skip 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, I mean work into the 7th. Skip 6 and work into the 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're going to work around the 7th of those double crochets. So front post treble around that 7th double crochet below, and remember, skip that single crochet behind and do a double crochet in the next single crochet, and skip a single crochet or skip 2 double crochets below. I'm going to do it that way, it's easier. So skip 2 double crochets below, and we're going to do a front post around the next 2 stitches. Okay, so you skip 2 double crochets below and you're doing 2 front post trebles, 1 on each of the next 2. Okay, so we've done those 2 front post trebles, and then we're going to go back to the double crochet next to the first one of those and do a front post. So working backwards, do that front post treble crochet, and then there will be 3 single crochets to skip behind. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do a double crochet in the next single crochet, so the 4th single crochet along, and then a front post treble below the next. So skip 1 double crochet below and do a front post treble around the next. So skip 1 single crochet from behind and then work a double crochet into the next and a double crochet into each of the next 5. So there will be 6 double crochets altogether. And that is your first row of the cabling completed. If this is your first time of ever doing any type of cable work, then well done. You've made it to the end of the first row of the cables. And it's not a lot to see, but it is already starting to look beautiful. Okay, let's start on row 5. So you can see though why our odd numbered rows, this is row 4, why that's the front, okay? So that's the front of the work, the even numbered rows. So row 5 is an odd number and that will be the back. So this is a very simple row now, and this is the start of your repeat pattern, okay? So chain 1, turn your work around, and you're going to do a single crochet into the very first stitch. It's not a double crochet, a single crochet into the very first stitch and into each stitch along. So you're going to go do a single crochet into the top of every double crochet and into the top of every front post treble crochet, okay? So you should, by the end of this, have 45 single crochets. There should be 45 stitches on each row, no matter what stitches were made. There should be 45 in total. Okay, so work along and pause the video and meet me back when you've finished your row of single crochets. Okay, so your last stitch will be in the top of your chain 3 that you started the previous row with. Okay, and then once you finish your single crochets, just count back along and just make sure that you have 45 stitches. And if you don't have 45 stitches, or you have so you have less or more, then something has gone slightly wrong on the previous row. Okay, so just make sure you have the right amount of stitches now, and if not, then you'll need to just undo that and have a look at the previous row and see if you can spot where you've made a mistake. Maybe you've added an extra double crochet, or you've missed out a double crochet or something. So just count now and see if you've got the right amount, because then it will be right for starting the next row. Okay, so there we go. That's my row of single crochet, and I've counted them and I have the right amount. And this is our second row of our repeat now, and we're going to so row 6, and we're going to work back along the right side to the row, the side with the front post trebles for our cables. So turn your work around and chain 3 for your first double crochet, and then as always skip the very first stitch and do 5 double crochets along. So into the second stitch along and do 5 double crochets. Okay, so you now have 6 there, including your starting chain. Okay, so this is where it's a lot easier. No more counting the double crochets on the row below. So much easier. So we're going to do a front post treble crochet around the next front post treble crochet. So the first front post treble crochet here, do a front post treble crochet around the top of that. Okay, double crochet in the next single crochet. Remember, you will have one at the back to skip, and then do a double crochet in that next. Okay, so the only thing you really need to check are your skipped stitches behind. Okay, and then you're going to do a front post treble crochet around the second and third front post trebles. So if you look along here, you've got 1, 2, 3, okay? I know this one we did before. 1, 2, 3. We're going to do it around the second and third one along. So, a little tricky sometimes to get into that second one because it's overlapped by this diagonal one. Okay, but just move that aside slightly and go around the next. Okay, so you want the second front post, okay, and do your front post treble around there. Now can you see my stitch has gone really big, and that's what we want to try and avoid, so I'm just going to do that one again. Try and avoid your stitches becoming really, really big and floppy. So just make that a bit tighter. There we go. And we're going to do it around the next one as well. There we go. Gosh, it's Saturday evening here, and it's very busy in my neighbourhood. Very busy with cars and people. Trying to pause the camera when there's lots of noise. But if you have heard some noise, then I apologise for that. But lots of people going out on a Saturday night, I think. And I'm here videoing for you. Can't fault my dedication, huh? Okay, so now we're going to make another one of these diagonals, okay? One of these diagonals that we did down here. So we're going to do a front post treble around the first front post treble on this row. So if you look, it's this one here that we just skipped. So front post treble crochet around that first one. Oops. There we go, and that's made that crossed over one, and then we are going to do a double crochet in the next single crochet along. So you will have 3 skipped single crochets behind. 1, 2, 3. Do a double crochet in the next one, and then a front post treble crochet around this next front post treble crochet. Oops, keep losing that last loop. Okay, and then you will have 1 skipped single crochet behind, and then you're going to do 6 double crochets along. It's the birds being noisy now. Gosh, sounds like I'm in a rainforest or something. Apologies there if I was off of the camera screen. So there we go. That's our first repeat of this row. Okay. So you are going to now repeat that. So we are going to do a front post treble crochet around this next front post treble crochet. Double crochet in the next single crochet, so skip 1 behind and then do a double crochet. Oops. And then a front post treble crochet around the second and third, so skip the first one and do the second and third. Second and the third. Okay, and then go backwards and go around the first one with a front post treble crochet. Like so, making that twisted rope effect, which you can see is now starting to work up nicely. And then we are going to double crochet in the next single crochet, so skip 3 stitches behind and do a double crochet in the next stitch. My stitch has gone a little small. Let's work into that. Okay, and then a front post treble around the next front post treble. And skip a stitch, a single crochet stitch, and 6 double crochets. Okay, so the very last repeat on this row, very last repeat, we are going to do a front post treble around the next front post treble. Skip a single crochet behind and do a double crochet in the next stitch. Front post treble crochet around your second and third stitches. Okay, so remember you've got 1, 2, 3, so second and third. The third one being that slanted one. Okay, like so. And then skip those 3 stitches from behind. No, sorry, excuse that. Front post treble back to the one that we missed. So that first front post treble, making your twisted crossed over rope. Now skip 3 single crochets from behind and double crochet into the next, and then front post treble around the last front post treble, and double crochet around, double crochet into the last 6 stitches, so make sure you're skipping a stitch from behind and you're crocheting into the last 6 stitches. Okay, count them if you want to, and do a double crochet into each of those 6 single crochets that remain. And once you've done these 6 double crochets, that is it. No, that's not your square. This is just a strip of crochet, but that is all the steps you need for making your cable now. So there we go. That is the repeat of your cable. Okay, now just have a look at your work so far. Now, is your work pulling in a little where you've got your cables? Is it sort of dipping down a little and pulling in? Let me try and make this look like it. Okay, so is it pulling in a little where you've got these cables and then sort of doming up where you've got your double crochets? Is it going a bit like that? If it's going like that, it means that the end of your square is going to be pulling in. Now let me show you this one here. Find it. Okay, if you look at this one here, now this is one from the 2018 Granny Square Cal. Now if you see, I don't have a straight edge here and I don't have a straight edge here because my stitches were pulling in tight. Okay, so if your stitches, your post stitches are pulling in tight, you can finish with a wavy top like this if you want. If that's okay with you, you can leave it like that and carry on as you are doing. But if you want to make a straight edge, which let's face it, most of us do, most of us want a nice straight edge like this. I'll just sort of put it back together again. Then what you can do is, instead of doing front post trebles, you can do front post double trebles. So for that you will yarn over 3 times and do a front post treble, front post double treble crochet. Yarn over 3 times. Now you'll probably find that your straight stitches here, these that form these vertical bars, you're probably finding that they are fine and they're probably not pulling in. It's probably when you start to do these ones that are angled like that, okay? They're probably the ones that are pulling it in for you. If that's the case, if it is pulling in, just have a look at where it's pulling in, and then I would advise you to undo this and start again. Just rewind the video and change those to double trebles. So yarn over 3 times and then make in exactly the same way as you would a treble. And I have got more info on stitch sizes and tool stitches on the intro to cables video, which there is a link for below in the description. Okay, so just change those. If it's pulling in like so, then change, unless you want a wavy edge like this. Okay, if you want a nice straight edge, then just change them up. But if they're forming nicely, then just go as you are. If for some reason it's doming, like, I can't really make this happen very well, but if it's doming, then it probably means you're making your stitches a bit too loose. So just try and pull them a bit tighter. Or as annoying as it may be, you could just change your hook for those stitches. I know that would be a bit sort of annoying, keep flipping between hooks, but that's another way as well. Just go down a hook size or half a hook size. So I'm using a 4.5mm, so I would go down to a 4. If I wanted to make those a bit smaller, and that will help as well. So that is the basic repeat. You need to repeat the last 2 rows. Hopefully I'll have something on screen in just a second that tells you where you need to rewind to repeat those rows. You're going to repeat the row of doing single crochets all the way back, and the row that we just did with making those front post trebles. That is what you're going to do. And I will put that time up on the screen in just a moment when I finish talking, the time that you need to rewind to. So you will keep repeating those rows for 5 and 6, rows 5 and 6, until your fabric is about 11.5 inches. If you've got a 12-inch square, if you're making a 12-inch square, let me just double check the size of mine. Oops. So, okay, so mine is 11 inches. Okay, so mine's 11 inches. So I will actually stop when mine's about 10.5 inches. If your square is, if yours is more 12 inches, then stop when it's 11.5. So you want to stop about half an inch shorter than your square, and then we'll just do the final row. This is just a final row of double crochet. Okay. Okay, so when you have about half an inch left to go for your square, you want to finish on the row with the cable. So finish on the double crochet row with doing these twisted cables, and then to finish off the last row, you want to do a row of double crochet. So instead of doing the single crochet back along, which you would normally do, you want to turn your work, chain 3, and then do your 45 double crochet all the way back along, and that will finish your work off nicely. And that is your finished result that I have here. This is my finished result. So do your last row of cables and then do a chain 3 and 45 double crochets back. Fasten off, and then you've just got these 2 ends to sew in, unless you've changed colour, of which obviously you probably have more colours to sew in. But that is how our gorgeous twisted rope with vertical bars, how it's looking. I love it, love it, love it. And you can see how this is worked up, a version of this one from the Granny Square Cow. It's just beautiful, love it, love it. Just an adaptation of this small square. And you can see you could just make this into an entire blanket. It would be beautiful as just one whole blanket in this. But I'm going to make all my different cable squares, and then I'm going to sew them together and make a small blanket with those. But it's beautiful, love it, love it, love it. I will, if you want to make this into a blanket, I will pop in the description box below. I will pop in there the repeat stitch count, which I think is 39 plus 6. So multiples of 39, no, So this was 39 plus 6. I think it's multiples of 13 plus 6. So multiples of 13 plus 6. But I will pop that in the description just to confirm that. So if you want to make a blanket, you would multiply 13 by as wide as you want it, and then you would add 6 on the end of that chain. Okay, so that's how you would do that. And yeah, on Wednesday we will be bringing you another cable, a slightly more complex cable. We're starting with the more simple and we're going to work up to slightly more complex as we go. But as with this one, I will take you through every step of the way, or every stitch of the way. So if you've made this, I would love to see your photos. So pop them in the group, the Facebook group, Beyond the Cal, or if you're not on Facebook, then on Instagram, hashtag Beyond the Cal. Show us your photos there, that would be great. There's still not many photos on Instagram, so it'd be lovely to see a few. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed this and found this useful and helpful. And if you have, then please click that like button, give us a thumbs up and share the love. And until next time, just keep hooking and don't let your feet get cut.